leave, like, he had a baby.
Hello, everyone. It's Wednesday, May 29th. I hope and pray no one was hurt bad in the accident on the turnpike. I was in Beckley, and then I started down this way, and I've been held up in traffic forever and a day, and I'd say that a lot of folks may still be held up in traffic, but it's, it was a long wait, and the state police kind of got me through and everything, but goodness gracious, it was, it didn't look like a bad accident, but it involved a truck. I don't know if any cars were involved or not, but like I said, I hope and pray nobody was hurt real bad, and sure to goodness that we didn't lose a life. But nevertheless, if we've got a good little bit to cover, we're going to go through it as quickly as we possibly can, but here's a really neat thing. I'm going to sign the bill. It's Senate Bill 1004. It's in regard to the Posie Perry Food Fund, and where $10 million is going to be placed into our state's food banks and pantries, and it is an emergency fund. There's additional funding in addition to this and everything, but some way, somehow, I mean, at the end of the day, things are going awful good in West Virginia. And if we can't step back and help those that are really, really in tough situations and everything, especially our kids that are hungry, I mean, come on, and so it gives me great pride, and the reason I named it the Posie Perry Fund, emergency fund, is just this: Posie Perry was my uncle, and he worked in the mines until he retired from the mines, and he was one of 10 children with my mom, and Posie was just I always called him Pose rather, but he just was a prince of an individual. After he retired from the mines for decades, he worked at the food pantry there in Man, West Virginia, and he was a rock solid Christian man and an absolute just superstar. And so his wife Sid and for Pose, and we lost Pose, now a little over a year ago. And I think he was 93 or 94 years old. I was fortunate enough to be able to be at the funeral and deliver, a eulogy on a man that just was a superstar, an absolute superstar for God above in every way. And so, like I said, I'm really, really proud to do this, and I'm going to sign this bill right now. And so, you know, even though we've already made it official, this is going to make it super official. But nevertheless, $10 million into an emergency fund and everything to help the hungry. Absolutely. And Posie, we can never thank you enough. You know, I just think about you an awful lot, and your stories and just a lot of goodness from a great man. Okay, if we could go on, you know, today I'm thrilled to announce the West Virginia Governor's School is gearing up to welcome, get this, 544 students in the class of 2024. You know, absolutely the addition of the Governor's School for Tourism is a big part of that. This includes that as the first year of the Governor's School for Tourism. And I just can't tell you enough how excited we are about these young people getting real hands-on experience. And not only that, they're on their way. But with all that being said, someday, before we turn around 2 or 3 times, they'll be the people that are taking the jobs that we need absolutely so desperately in this state in our great state of West Virginia. So I congratulate all those that are a part of making this school become a reality. And I absolutely am really thrilled about the tourism aspect, because West Virginia's tourism is exploding. We thank all those involved, especially Secretary Ruby, and just lots and lots and lots of good stuff going on there. The waterfall, the waterfall trail that we established in West Virginia, and we did that with 40 different waterfalls all across the state. And so basically we're telling people to try to visit as many of them, if not all of them, as you possibly can. One of them is named Baby Dog Falls, and it's down on the lower end of Babcock and everything, and so please go there. 3 new ones we have now. One is the Clear Fork Rail Trail Waterfall in Wyoming County. One is the White Oak Falls in Mercer County, and the other one is the Devil Sawmill in Clay County. But look at that. I mean, come on. Is that not unbelievable? Is it not just West Virginia? Is it not just beauty that is just unsurpassed? And so absolutely get out. And here's the thing. Get this. I'm excited to announce that over the Memorial Day weekend, the West Virginia Waterfall Trail hit a major milestone with 75,000 check-ins. You know, so goodness gracious. You know, it just brings more and more and more people to West Virginia. They spend dollars in West Virginia. It just absolutely just makes us better and better and better. So get out and enjoy this unbelievable state. Gracious sakes of living, it's got so much to offer. Today I am appointing a couple judges and everything. These judges have won election and everything, but I am appointing Ryan Flanagan as the circuit judge of the 9th Judicial Court representing Mercer County. And I'm also appointing Sarah Dixon as family court judge for the 6th family court circuit in Cabell County. And congratulations to both Ryan and Sarah. You know, they both won election, and this is just going to get them in there and get them going and everything before their term really starts, I think, in January. You know, I told you the last time we talked and everything about the declaration that we sent up, and some way, somehow, got it across the finish line, this major disaster declaration for 11 different counties. We didn't really think in the beginning that they would qualify under FEMA and everything, but this was great news and everything to all those people. We've had a whole bunch of folks and everything ask, how do they take advantage of this declaration? What do they do? What's the best and easiest way to reach out to FEMA and everything? And we have information that we're going to put up on our screen right now. And I'm going to just keep talking while it's up there and everything. But So reach out. You can reach out online, through an app on your phone, or in person, to report to the disaster recovery centers and everything. Those centers are being announced, and so keep an eye out for information from FEMA and our emergency management division. And and like I said, these storms continue, so we're going to continue to try to get people qualified and everything, and try to get people the help that they desperately need, because these storms are pretty doggone tough. That's all there is to it. So anyway, if you didn't get that and everything, call us and we'll get you to the right place and everything, where we can get you, to the right people to get you qualified. Okay, our First Lady is going to do something really special on West Virginia Day. It's our 161st birthday and everything, but she's hosting the Great West Virginia Hot Dog Sauce Cook-Off and everything, and she's really excited about it and everything, to have all kinds of different activities and vendors and lots of fun right here on our grounds and everything. And so the deadline, we want to celebrate our great West Virginia's rich flavors and traditions. And what better way to do it than a good old-fashioned hot dog sauce contest. And so the deadline for submissions is Monday, June the 10th, and the grand prize winner will be the centerpiece of the whole thing, the whole day. And so please get your recipes in, and let's just see who wins the whole deal. And so Kathy's really excited. Like I said, it'll be a fun day, fun day. Don't forget Juneteenth, the celebration. The applications are due for any of the vendors, the performers, the artists, and everything. They're due on May 31st. Head over to the Herbert Henderson Office of Minority Affairs website to get your application in. Please do that and everything. Great day. Don't forget your free fishing days to get out on June the 8th and the 9th and everything, and enjoy those days and everything, and then just maybe you'll fall in love like I have and we all have in West Virginia to our great waters, and it'll touch your soul. I'm telling you, that's all there is to it. The same thing with our waterfalls. So take advantage of the 8th and 9th free fishing days. But that's all I've got, and we'll take your questions and we'll answer them as best we can. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Governor. We'll now go to questions from members of the media. Our first question today, Mark Curtis, Nexstar Media.
There we go. Good afternoon, Governor, and fellow reporters and staffers. Governor, I want to ask you about the resignation of Pamela Woodman Kaler. She was the ombudsman for foster kids at DHHR. First of all, what are your thoughts on her resignation? Does this indicate some kind of problem with the position or over there? And how important is it to have this ombudsman that works on behalf as a champion of the kids?
Well, first of all, they're super important because they're our double check and everything. From the second standpoint of Pam, from what I understand, she did an incredible job. Ann Erling now, I guess, would be her boss. And, the report that I'm getting from Ann is she got a better job, guys. I mean, that's all there is to it. This business of attacking people and everything and digging into everything coming or going. If she's telling us she got a better job, and why don't we celebrate that? Really and truly, basically we're indicating that there's a problem, or maybe she didn't do something right, or someone else didn't do something right and everything. Let me just tell you just two or three things. And Mark, you're a good man, but you got to understand this. This all started with Jeremiah Samples running through the building screaming whatever he was screaming. It all started with Bill Crouch firing Jeremiah Samples. Did it not just start right there? Then then Jeremiah supposedly, from what I understand, was off on maternity leave, and then it was extended, and while it was extended, basically Bill and Jeremiah, and I don't know Jeremiah Samples hardly at all. I'm not down on anybody. I absolutely don't hardly know the man. But from what I understand, Bill Crouch and Jeremiah Samples were button heads. Jeremiah Samples was the second in charge, Mark. He was in charge, the second man in charge here for a decade plus. And now he runs through the building saying everything in the world was wrong. Why didn't he fix it? Why in the world didn't he fix it if something was wrong? For God's sakes, a living. And so from what I understand, I think he was on maternity leave, it was extended, and then he was down here running through the legislature screaming, fire, 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 and then the next thing, we're on a quest to divide this thing up. And I hope and pray with all in me that we get things better. The public, it's not fair to the public to just layer in more and more and more agencies and more people and everything and raise the cost of government like crazy and then not get things better. So we want things to be better. But everything in the world I know about Pam is she did an incredible job. We were really, really, really proud of all that she did and everything. And with all that, we'll miss her. But if people along the way find a better opportunity and better job, we celebrate that. But the Ombudsman, and it's hard for me to say that word. It's a little difficult and everything. But nevertheless, we celebrate, and hope and pray that everything works out great for her. We'll replace her and we'll move forward and everything. But I don't know of any problem whatsoever. And I'd like to just say one last thing. Mark, you'll never in 10 million years find a piece of paper or anything where Jim Justice has told anybody not to say anything, to hide this, to do this and everything. It's crazy. It's absolutely so frivolous and crazy it's off the chart. But then what the media does is run through the jungle screaming and hollering and everything, that there's a problem here, problem here, problem here, and I welcome it. I welcome it, but really and truly, then who do we target, Mark? People that are trying hard to do a good job. Now, they're trying hard. And really and truly, just absolutely attacking these people and everything to get the next story or whatever, I don't know that we ought to do that all the time. And so with all that being said, probably nobody's going to listen to me a bit in the world about that, but I really think for the most part, these people surely got their heart in it and they're trying really hard and they don't deserve, to be beat on.
All right, thank you, Mark. Let's now go to Charles Young with WV News.
Hi, this is Charles Young with WV News. Governor, ever since the primary election, there have been calls for Republicans to go into the November general unified on the same page. Given that spirit, I was wondering if you plan to campaign with or on behalf of Attorney General Morsi. Thank you.
Charles, I haven't even thought about it, to tell you the truth, because, we got through the primary and I haven't even thought about it. To be perfectly honest, it was exhausting for lots and lots and lots of folks. I hated like crazy seeing how down in the ditch the commercials got, because, and I hated that to death. I would say just this, Patrick Morsi is our nominee, and absolutely I am 100% behind supporting our party nominee, and Patrick is a good man, and I hope and pray that Patrick will not only be elected, but he'll be a great governor. And so from that standpoint, I don't know how to be more straightforward than that.
All right, thank you, Charles. Let's now go to Bob Aaron with WCHS TV.
Governor, as you know, we reported that a state trooper went directly to the local CPS office to report a situation that would eventually end with the apparent starvation death of a 14-year-old girl. And the response we got back from the agency was this: it's not common practice, even in cases where there is an emergency situation and law enforcement are in need of immediate assistance from the Child Protective Services, officers are instructed to call the DOHS office for immediate help, and there's a toll-free number. But considering that the state trooper is a mandatory reporter, and he may have had reasons to go directly to the office because it was at that point maybe a complex and not obvious situation of what was going on, why wasn't that followed up on? What difference does it make if they made a phone call or tied a note to a rock and threw it through the window of the office? Once the agency becomes aware of what's going on or the need to check what's going on, why didn't they do it?
Bob, I can't hear you real well, but I think I got it enough. So let me just say this. And first of all, is there anybody in the world that doubts my commitment to transparencies? You know, I'm going to be that way. I'm going to be that way, period. And we have confirmed that his cruiser was in the parking lot. The people in the building say they don't have any recollection of him being in the building. They don't have any recollection of a report or anything like that. You know, so we're surely not confirming that we got a report or whatever. But from what I understand too, it was significantly before the bad situation happened. The point, Bob, is just this, is if you'll just let the thing play out, that's all I'm asking to do. Let the investigation play out. And if it plays out and somebody's really dropped the ball, they won't be here to drop the ball again. That's all there is to it. You know, I mean, that's exactly how I feel. But I am not going to beat down people that are trying hard every day. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to disclose confidential stuff to an investigation because of, you know, a reporter saying this or that. I'm not going to do that either. You know, I'm going to let the investigation play out, and then I am absolutely going to deliver all that information. You know, I don't know what else to do. You know, these people try really hard in what they're doing. You know, from what I understand, there was a report with Kennedy's name on the report. My goodness gracious, Bob. The first one, I think she was a year old. This report didn't have anything whatsoever to do with Kennedy. And the next report that came in, I think, is the exact same thing. You know, nothing referencing Kennedy at all. You know, now, we can run through the wilderness screaming at the top of our lungs. There was two reports about this child. That's not true, Bob. From what I know, that's just not true. You know, from the standpoint of the troopers reference and all this kind of stuff, you know, I think that it was a year prior to the situation, this terrible situation with this child. Now, that doesn't really matter a whole lot, because if it was a year prior, then we should have followed up on it and didn't follow up, then who knows, you know, that we could have not made things a whole lot better. We'll find out. The investigation will be done. And when the investigation's done, we'll know. We'll know for sure. But Bob, you know, terrible things happen. I mean, good gracious, from what I understand, we had a baby lost, left in a car. We had another baby lost by somebody shaking the baby really hard and everything. We have tragedies. We try to do better. You know, these people are not bad people. They're trying to be better, and really and truly, at the end of the day, if we find out that somebody's done something wrong, we'll address it. We'll not only address it, we'll address it very harshly.
All right, thank you, Bob. Let's go to Brad McElhaney with West Virginia Metro News.
Hi, Governor. You have mentioned an investigation as you discussed the state's handling of Kennedy Miller, the Boone County sheriff who died in an emaciated state. I haven't really heard you define that investigation, though. I'm assuming you meant an investigation outside of the criminal prosecution of her mother and grandparents. But if it's an investigation of the government's handling of the situation, who is heading that up? And what are they reviewing? Does it focus on the actions or inactions of the school system, the state police, or Child Protective Services? Is there a timeline of when such an investigation might be complete? And what might be the public accessibility of its findings? Thank you.
Okay, Brad, here's what I know. You know, we are having each one of these agencies report and gather, first of all, gather the information, and then report that information to our office. And you know, and we have very experienced lawyers here in our office, and a report will be put out as soon as we gather the information. You know, I don't know any better way to do it. I mean, you know, we could, you know, we've got several different agencies that are involved, and so we've got to gather the information first. Now, once we gather the information, if we have reason to believe we didn't get all the information, or there's people that are withholding stuff and everything, then we'll dig deeper. You know, if we gather the information and everything looks in order, we'll report what we've got and move forward. On the other hand, if we think we need to bring in outside people, you know, to bolster the investigation, we'll bring in outside people.
All right, thank you, Brad. Let's now go to Stephen Adams with Ogden News.
Yeah, Steve Adams here with Ogden Newspapers. From what I understand, I don't know if Jeremiah Samples has been running through the building, but what we've been reporting about in the last couple of days has come from his sworn deposition in the foster care lawsuit. So it's coming from things he's being directly asked under oath versus him being public about what he's doing, though he did testify that in regards to his firing by Bill Crouch, that he had an agreement with the governor's office to just move on, and he wouldn't disparage DHH or the governor's office, and you all wouldn't disparage him. So I don't know if that's now thrown out the window or not, but kind of taking a 50,000-foot view of the whole thing without talking about the Boone County investigation and all of that. I know you talk constantly about running to the fire. Barely 5 months in, it would appear that the Department of Human Services is on fire, and CPS has continued to be on fire for some time. So based on the handling of the Boone County case and the department's interactions with the press over the last several weeks, do you still have faith in the department to get a handle on the long-term issues in regards to CPS and foster care, or are you considering making changes in leadership there before you leave us as governor in January? Thank you.
Stephen, first of all, I don't have any reason to not have faith that the people are trying as hard as they can and they're doing a good job. You know, I can tell you that it'd be so easy to just say, well, let's replace this secretary, or let's do that, let's put on a fanfare. But I meet up with being fair to people, you know, and from what I have seen thus far, you know, I think progress has really been made, you know, from the standpoint of the number of CPS workers that we have now, and the good stuff that we're trying to do in regard to foster care or whatever it may be, it's a long ways from being perfect, but we're making real progress. And, you know, whether it be, you know, I go back to, you know, General Hoyer and Clay Marsh and lots of folks and everything that jumped in and tried to help, and you know good and well that they're giving it everything that they've got, and they're the best people on the planet. So with and you know, so with all that being said, I you know, Brad, to just and going back to Jeremiah, I mean, good gracious sakes of living, you know, Jeremiah was either in everybody's ear in the legislature, and then everybody just jumped up and they went crazy, you know, saying, let's do this and that and everything else. And I, you know, and I was fine. I mean, I supported, you know, I didn't push back. I was fine. But we all, I mean, what I'm just trying to acknowledge is Bill Crouch was the secretary, and the deputy secretary and him had a real clash. You know, then Bill Crouch fired the deputy secretary, fired him. And at that point in time, we would be silly to deny that Jeremiah wasn't in front of the legislature saying, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, you need to do this, you need to do this, and everything else. I mean, for God's sakes of living, is it not fair to say Jeremiah was here for a decade plus? Why didn't Jeremiah fix it? You know, I mean, he was here way before Bill Crouch was here. He was here way before Jim Justice was here. You know, if there were so many things wrong, where was Jeremiah? You know, I just don't think that it's completely fair, and I want to try to be fair, but at the same time, I want to solve problems and I want to move forward. This is tough stuff, and but I do think that the people are, you know, I mean, you just look at the people that have been involved. I think Dr. Coben, is that correct? You know, and, you know, Clay Marsh and General Hoyer, and now, you know, Secretary Pursley, and on and on and on. You know, I mean, I just think literally you've got people that are not bad eggs and they're trying. You know, it is tough stuff, and there's progress being made, but it's not going to be perfect tomorrow. And I don't know, you know, I don't know how to make it any better. But just to run through the bushes and fire people and put on a show, I'm not much in that. I'm not going to sit around and defend them. You know, I mean, I'm not going to do that. You know, I'm going to let investigations play out, and you know, I've always got these sayings, and but I truly believe if you know, before we just jump in the wrong direction and end up causing us even a worse problem, or we end up damaging or hurting a good person, I don't think that's the thing to do. I think the best thing we can do is just what I would do and recommend, that if you're walking through the woods and you look down and 10 feet away from you, there's a rattlesnake all coiled up. And I think I've told you this before. What do you do? What do you do? You know, that snake can't hurt you. But oftentimes rattlesnakes travel in twos. What you better do, instead of just jumping and running in a direction, you better stand still and look to your left and look to your right and look behind you and decide the best way to go. Because you may just jump, and you may just jump right on his buddy, and then you're going to have a bad day. You know, to me, if we just jump, you know, without really knowing, we stand a really good chance of hurting somebody that's really trying hard, that's a good person. So that's all I'm wanting to do. Just let it play out. Everybody just take a deep breath or two, let it play out, and then let's try to come up with something to make things better.
All right, thank you, Stephen. Up next, Curtis Johnson with WSAZ.
Hey, good afternoon, Governor. Thank you so much for taking my question. Since you just seemingly confirmed that the 09 and 17 cases from our whistleblower occurred, how can the state claim those cases from 09 and 17 were not about Kennedy, when all calls to that hotline are about children and situations that place children in danger? And then separately about that state police call, are you now saying that the state trooper did not go inside that building and make the report?
Curtis, the last time that you had, you were in a car and you were really animated. In fact, it almost got ridiculous. Really, what I know about those two reports were, one was made about something, I don't know if it was drugs or whatever it may be, but one was made about that, but Kennedy was referenced but she was in the home, she was 1 year old. She wasn't involved in anything at that time that was a part of the report, from what I understand, and I've been told this by my people. And the other report, the same thing, so, and from the standpoint of the trooper, the people in the building, from what I'm told, don't recall the trooper being in the building. What they recall is the trooper's cruiser in the parking lot. Curtis, all I can tell you is what I know. That's all there is to it. And so I just say, just let this play out. Just let it play out. We're trying to make things better. We're trying to report to you and tell you everything that I know we can tell you and everything. I can tell you that, like I told you before, a lawyer in DHHR advised us you couldn't release this or that information. They were wrong. They were dead wrong. So, but other than that, that's all I can tell you.
All right, thank you, Curtis. Governor, we'll turn it back to you.
Pamela Woodman Kaler. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. But Pam, we thank you. We thank you for your service. I hope and pray everything is on the level from the standpoint that you got a better job and you're happy about that. And, from the standpoint of our ombudsman, or ombudsman, they do great work. They are very important, and absolutely we appreciate Pam, and we'll try to replace her with the best of the best. The only thing I can, without going back through the questions and everything, the only thing I can say is please remember Posie Perry and the fact that we're doing some really, really neat stuff for the hungry, and I thank the Senate and the House for going along with us there. And I would just say, just get out and enjoy this incredible state and in every way. And just remember this, from the standpoint of CPS or DHHR or on and on and on, I go right back to what I've already said. There will be, in an organization as big as the government is, there's going to be situations to where the boss, Bill Crouch, and his underling, Jeremiah Samples, they don't get along. They butt heads. There's issues. Then there's even issues where people fire people. And then there's issues where people then run and start coming up with every problem in the whole wide world and saying this and that. Probably at the end of the day, you know, maybe both are right and both could be wrong. You know, like I said, I do not hardly know Jeremiah Samples. But with all that being said, I will promise you to the good Lord above that we will be 100% transparent, and that we will not be transparent on the fact that if there's an investigation ongoing, we are not going to disclose information that we shouldn't be disclosing. So with all that being said, as soon as we have the right information, you've trusted me thus far, you know I didn't let you down, and I'll absolutely report to you as soon as I've got the information. Thank you all so much.